This is how to make a Spanish style Makina track using the Makina Toolkit 5. So first we're going to set our tempo to around 170. You can go a little bit faster if you want, or a little bit slower. This is whatever you prefer. Alright, and then next we're going to go to presets and FL Citrus presets, and we're going to drag in Supersaw. Okay, next we need to go into the MIDIs, and we're going to pick a MIDI that we like. So you can have a flick through these and see which one you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to go with Melody 4. Alright, next we're going to go into the samples folder and go down to stabs. I'm going to find a nice classic Makina stab. So we'll drag this in just underneath our Supersaw, and we're going to go and get the notes from the bottom of the melody, because these ones here are the bass line. And then we're going to copy them and paste them onto this pattern. Currently these are sitting around C4, so what we want to do is control and up on the keyboard to get them around C5, because that's the original pitch of the sample. So if you go too far below or too far above, the sample's going to sound a bit nasty, and I'll show you what I mean there. So first we need to go onto the sample properties here, and we just need to turn attack and release down. So attack all the way down, and with release I like to leave just a little bit, maybe somewhere between 5 to 10%, and you can see that up in the left corner up here. So we'll maybe go around 7, somewhere in the middle. Okay, so if this was around the C4 octave, it's going to sound like this. It's too low, and if it was around C6, it's a little bit too high. So I usually go for around, like, as close to the C5 area as I can. Okay, so that paired with the melody sounds like this. Before we go any further, we'll send these to a mixer track. So the melody can be track 5 and the stab can be track 6. So now on the mixer we can level these off and rename them. So 5 was the Supersaw lead, so I'll just name that lead, and number 6 is the stab. So I'm just going to bring the volume of the melody down a little bit here, maybe by about 10%. Next we're going to clone the stab, so just right click and clone, and then we're going to go into the bass category, and we need to find a nice classic Spanishy bass. So I'm going to try this one and see what it's like. Just play it on its own. Because we've duplicated this, we've already got the instrument properties set up exactly the same as the stab. And we can play that with the stab. I'll play it without first and then I'll bring it in. So that's adding a nice fat low end there. Okay. We're going to move the bass onto track 7 on the mixer so we can control that separately. And I'll rename this one to bass. So next we're going to paint this onto the song here. I'm going to rename this melody. And then I'm going to go and copy and paste these two onto a new pattern. And this one is going to be bass. And then I can paste that down underneath. Okay, next up I'm going to go into the drums category and we'll start adding some percussion. So first thing I'm going to add is a hi-hat, so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the hi-hat folder. We want one of these open hi-hats. So I think this one should work quite well. I'm going to zoom right in and I'm going to set my snap to half a beat, and this is going to go on the offbeat here in line with the bass. If we want, we can use the fade in tools here to make it a little bit snappier. And we can hold Alt and drag the side in to make it even shorter. Right, and then I'm going to turn the volume down to about 50%. I'm going to go and paint this where all the basses are. So I'm going to select them all, hold shift and then just drag them across. And then I can select all of them again, and I'll do the same again and just drag them across. So we can send this hi-hat to the next available mixer track by pressing the track button here. So the hi-hat's currently a little bit louder than my stab and bass, which I don't want, so I'm going to drag it down about 10 or 15%. Next we can go and add a clap. And this is going to be painted on every single beat. So we can set this snap to a beat, and then we can draw them all the way along. We'll send this to the next available mixer track, and then we can mix the volume. Next up, we're going to go and get a kick from the kick folder. I'm going to go with kick 47. We can zoom in and set the snap back to a half a beat. So we want to make sure that the kick isn't overlapping over half a beat, so we can just trim off that end bit there, and then right click and drag to delete it. Okay, so we can set the snap back to a beat now, and then we can paint these all the way along. We'll send the kick to track 1. So we'll just bring the volume of the kick down slightly, and the lead as well can come down a little bit. So we can mix the volume of these a little bit better now. Just going to rename all of my mixer tracks so I know what they are. So next we're going to add some EQ and effects to these mixer tracks. So first I'm going to go onto the lead and I'm going to add Fruity Parametric EQ2. So what we want to do is cut off the low end by dragging these points all the way down to the bottom, and then this one down until we get that curve that cuts off the bottom area here. And then we can boost the high, mid and treble a little bit. This is going to increase the volume, so we'll need to adjust the fader after adding the effects in EQ. Next we're going to do the same with the stab and cut off the low end. And with the bass as well, we do the same, but we won't cut off as much of the low end this time. So we'll just go a little bit further than the subline, and then we'll just cut off the very extreme lows here. And if needed, you can also cut some of the top end off. Again with the hi-hat, we're going to cut off any low end because we don't want any bass on the hi-hats. And with these we can pan them a bit to the left or the right. So I'm going to go about 25% left. And with the clap I'm going to pan that a little bit to the right. And we can use the same EQ on the clap. So what I'm going to do is go onto the hi-hat, click the drop down on the Fruity Parametric EQ2, go down to where it says Save Preset, and I can just drag this straight over onto the clap. And then we can just adjust the number 1 here until we're happy with it. and I'll just cut off the very high part of the clap. Okay, so I'm going to get the bass and I'm going to paste it down again at the bottom, and I'm going to make this unique. And this one I'm going to rename Synth Stab. So inside this pattern, I'm going to go and get a new preset from FL's Citrus presets, and I'm going to drag in 3-saw. And then I can take these notes from the stab and paste them on there, and then I can get rid of these spare notes that we don't need. That's going to sound like this. So we have a few options with this. One of the simplest ones is going to be to copy and paste it, put it an octave below where the beat would be. And then we could send this to a mixer track. And again, cut off all of the low end. Turn the volume down. We could have this higher up. Or another option would be to copy and paste our bass line 7 notes above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to send this to a mixer track and turn the volume down. And again, we'll add the parametric EQ too and trim off the low end. So I'll turn the volume all the way down for now, and then we can hear what it does. Okay, so to clean this up a bit, we can turn the effects down on Citrus here. So this is really going to help to fill out our bass and stab. To make the melody a little bit more interesting, we can add a second layer to it. So to do that, we're going to go into samples and synths, and in here we've got tons of different synth sounds. So you could pick something interesting that's a bit different to the super saw, for example a voice or a flute or something like that. It's not like a synth sound, something that's a bit more realistic. So if we drag in the classic voice and just put it underneath the super saw, and then we can copy and paste our notes onto it. And I'll just mute the super saw for now. We need to go into the instrument properties, and just like we did with the stab, we turn the attack all the way down and release nearly all the way. So I think I'm going to go for the C3 version of this, which is the octave up. So I'm going to go and pick a different voice lead. Okay, so now we can send this to a mixer track, and again with the parametric EQ2, take away the bass. We can add fruity delay bank, and we can set the time to 4. We can set this to ping pong mode, and then we just need to turn the volume down on the feedback and the volume down on the output here. And then we can just turn the volume all the way down for now. And then we can listen to it with the other lead and bring the volume up until we're happy. Next we're going to add a crash at the start of our bar. And we'll turn the volume down to about 45%. We can add crashes and snares, other percussion and extra sounds to make it a bit more interesting. Alright, so that's all for this video. I've put the link to the Makina Toolkit 5 in the video description. And also if you want to learn more production stuff, then you can check out our courses, and I've put the link to them in the description as well.